She has 3 husbands. Cruel revenge from the first. Can you imagine discovering your wife has not 1, not 2, but 3 husbands? This shocking confession turned one man's world upside down. How could she betray him so callously? What drove her to such depravity? How did he exact his brutal vengeance? Find out in this jaw-dropping story of marital mayhem you have to hear to believe. You have nothing to fear from me. Please remove your finger from the trigger, I said calmly yet firmly. My Glock rested idly on the armrest, my own finger lightly tracing its contour. Tension filled the air as we faced off, though violence would solve nothing. Reason and patience were the only paths to peace. He was larger and stronger, yet inside we all bleed the same. Your imposing stature and obvious training did not lessen our shared humanity. Though images from your past hinted at skills I hoped never to see, threat would not sway me where understanding might. My hope was that Emmeline's arrival could break this standoff before harm was done. I had sent our child to practice, trusting she'd return promptly to defuse the turmoil her mother's careless words had wrought. Thomas, let's end this madness, pleaded Laura in a tone that belied her role in its creation. One word from you can calm the storm, or you may come to regret inviting it. Her flirtation had stirred dark waters best left still, yet within his raging sea of doubt and anger lay a good man I'd glimpsed before. I prayed that man would heed my plea and stay the course of fury's tide, choosing compassion over conflict's grip. Silence fell as both parties weighed the gravity of choices made and those still ours to take or leave behind. The past held lessons if we cared to learn. Within this home we'd built a life together, flaws and all, and sought no end but understanding. Violence would resolve nothing while patience and truth, though bitter pills, might lead us to a place of peace. Our daughter's return could guide us there if we let calmer minds prevail. Marie sat on the porch, reflecting on the strange conversation from earlier that day. Her friend Sarah had said something bizarre about having multiple husbands. Marie couldn't get it out of her mind. As the sun began to set, Marie's husband Eric came home from work. She told him about the encounter, and he chuckled. Sarah always was a character. I'm sure she didn't mean it literally. Still, Marie felt unsettled. That night, Marie barely slept as questions swirled in her mind. Could Sarah have been hinting at something deeper? Marie decided to quietly look into Sarah's life more closely. The next day, she carefully searched Sarah's social media and call records. Nothing seemed amiss on the surface, but Marie couldn't shake the peculiar feeling. She began surveilling Sarah's daily patterns and interactions, searching for any inconsistencies. Weeks passed without revelations. Marie began to think she was overreacting. Then one afternoon, Marie saw something that gave her pause. As Sarah left her office building, a man emerged and greeted her warmly with a kiss. It was only a brief moment, but Marie realized with a jolt that she didn't recognize this man. Who was he? Marie's obsessive searching had finally yielded a clue, though it only deepened the mystery. She was no closer to understanding Sarah's original cryptic comment. The bizarre encounter continued to unsettle Marie's thoughts. Some secrets, it seemed, were not so easily uncovered. Emmeline arrived bearing gifts as Laura's birthday surprise. 3 vanilla envelopes landed on the coffee table amid puzzled looks. What are these? Laura inquired. Emmeline insisted they read the contents before explanation. Laura paled at the first glimpse while Luke retreated hastily. The revelations continued as Laura perused the remaining letters, tears welling. I never wanted to deceive you. I misjudged my fertility timeline. Luke emerged unsteadily, pleading hysterically for understanding. Promises were made, though trust had fled. Bitterness surfaced where camaraderie once lay. Accusations flew where respect had rooted. Divorce was declared, though financial impacts loomed heavily on all sides. Pensions, investments, property, and accounts were systematically divided in a flurry of closure. Prospects once shared now separated down discrete routes. Memories mingled with remorse and regret. Though the path forward proved unclear, autonomy had crystallized where union stood solidly. Time would determine whether relationship ruins could foster new growth or only mark a place of past plans permanently paved over. We entered the home on the market, hoping to start anew. Fond memories lingered as we prepared for change. Across town, a small apartment awaited, distance from past pains. Though far removed, wounds remained fresh for the children. At school, their minds wandered to explanations lacking solace. You did your best, I reassured my dear daughter, though her grief cut deep. 2 years remain until freedom. Her shelter rests where love resides. Compassion guides her way forward from darkness of the past. Time heals all, though scars may linger. With care and understanding, hurt gives way to hope. Your care for them knows no bounds. This I've witnessed through years entwined. Let patience see them through this transition as brighter days dawn anew. Words once spoken haste now haunt, Regret withstands reason's call. Yet anger serves no end and wounds all it touches. From ashes may roses grow if nourished by forgiveness soil. Memories of joy and sorrow intertwine as life's seasons turn. Our love, though changing form, remains. I seek not revenge but release, to face what's yet to come without shackles of past pains. Our children's happiness outlives all else. This gives me strength for the road ahead. I broached an uneasy subject with your former comrades, hoping candor could course-correct calamitous choices. Betraying bonds of brotherhood warrants reflection. Relationships require reverence. Years fled swift, each holding heartache few foresee. Faith fractured, futures now forfeit. Letters laid bare, once private pains now public. Reputations remain in tatters, rebuilt alone through repentance's reforms. Still, some scars shall never seal. Wounds of trust betrayed slow to heal. Lies linger long where loyalty collapsed. Though law lets leave, love lost leaves longest-lasting lessons. Time takes toll on all, though truth stays timeless. Together 23 they toiled, till treachery tore twain. Children's cheers could not appease parents' grief at grandchildren snatched from loving arms too soon. Tears tell no tales, but trace the tracks of trust betrayed and time wasted in deceit's empty embrace. Now new normals must needs be made from marriage's remains. Each moves forward, memories in tow, wiser for what was but can be no more. Though paths diverge henceforth, may peace find all whose lives were linked through love and lies, and lessons learned lights along life's ways, still winding wide. Luke sat down heavily, staring into his coffee without seeing it. His mind swirled with memories from years past. He and Emmeline had been through so much together, the ups and downs of life, binding them in ways he never could have imagined. Yet here they were, at another crossroads. Emmeline's eyes were wet with tears as she took his hand in hers. Eric, I know we've had our struggles. Marriages aren't perfect, but through it all, my love for you has never wavered. He looked up at her then, seeing the sincerity in her gaze. We've made mistakes, but if we're willing to understand each other, to communicate openly and honestly, I believe we can work through anything. Eric sighed. You're right. Running or hiding won't change the past. All we can do is choose how to move forward. He squeezed her hand gently. I'm willing to try if you are. No more secrets. Let's really talk and listen without judging. Our relationship is worth fighting for. Emmeline smiled softly. Then let's start over, one day at a time. Eric smiled back, feeling a lightness in his heart that had been missing for too long. The road ahead would take effort and compromise, but faced together, he knew they could overcome whatever challenges lay in their way. Remember those chaotic weeks after my sister fell ill? You were a nervous wreck, constantly begging me to hasten my return. Yet at the same time, life's mundane routines persisted. Each night, Thomas ensured peaceful order prevailed at home. He prepared nourishing meals, maintained cleanliness, and guided the children through scholarly pursuits. Yet beneath the surface lie undercurrents of chaos unseen. Emmeline inquired of Eric, still bitter over his impulsive purchase of an unnecessary vehicle. Was that reckless whim symptomatic of deeper unrest? Their relationship had long been unstable, but perhaps one final push remained. Silence fell as I dismissed them both coldly. Our partnership had run its disastrous course, leaving only fractured families and bitter memories in its wake. Though two households remained, responsibility for our errors pulled each in opposing directions. As guests prepared to depart the gathering, Eric met my eye knowingly. Blood ties exist beyond biology, yet raising children demands more than DNA. Commitment to their well-being must surpass fleeting passions. Calmly, I declared an end to this charade. My former partner had readied their belongings, signaling the close of this chapter. Two families now headed towards separate futures, seeking stability where discord once reigned. Alone with Gareth, I savored a beverage's soothing properties. A gentle touch upon my shoulder startled me from grim musings. Dark thoughts will not undo past mistakes, she soothed. Look ahead.